What up, mother blingers? Stranger Things has landed, and already it has conquered. For anyone who loves horror and science fiction, this series is a treat of gigantic proportions. And if you love for the genres goes back to the 80s and it's a gift from the heavens. Stranger Things is about as close as a time machine, I can say, that can easily transport you back to the 80s. So let's have a look at 10 movie references from Stranger Things you totally perhaps missed. Number 10, doing the thing like you do. First off, there is a poster of John Carpenter's The Thing, which is a gentle nudge to the horror icon, but there is another connection that is pretty cool. The kid's science teacher in Stranger Things is the classic teacher who knows absolutely everything. From the building of sensory deprivation tanks to the mechanics of alternate dimensions. During the sensory deprivation tank phone call from Dustin, the teacher is watching The Thing on TV with his girlfriend. There's an interesting side note here too, though it is almost certainly not connected. In John Carpenter's Halloween, Lindsay Vallis, one of the kids being babysat, is watching The Thing from another world. The inspiration for Carpenter's later hit, The Thing. Number 9. On the Run Like Firestarter. Elle brings to mind quite a few different characters and stories. Superpowered young people on the run is an interesting topic, and it's been explored numerous times in films. On Elle's particular powers, telekinesis is probably most famously done in Stephen King's Carrie, but I would argue that Elle is more closely connected to King's Firestarter. Both female characters are wanted by government agencies and are on the run, using their crazy powers to fend off the government's efforts to capturing them. There's also the frequent nosebleeds to when a power is used too much, which is also in Firestarter. Number 8. Writing reports like Jaws. This one plays to be big city cop in a small town trope. The other cops even call Jim Hooper, that's David Harbour, out on it in one scene. Hooper is very Chief Brody-like, the protagonist from Jaws. We see in both his conviction and his work ethic. If subtle character references aren't young thing, Will also has a Jaw poster in his room. The very poster that shows a victim about to be grabbed by a monster from underneath. On top of all of this, the best little nod to Jaws occurs when Hooper writes up his missing person report and the camera zooms in on the typewriter, almost an identical shot to the one Spielberg took in Jaws for Brody's report. Number 7. Bobby trapping a nightmare on Elm Street. There are two scenes in particular which really highlight the connection between Stranger Things and A Nightmare on Elm Street. The most obvious is the monster coming through the wall, just like Freddy Krueger, right? Oh my god, imagine that now. You're gonna have nightmares tonight, aren't you? I'm sorry about that. Peter Jackson's The Frighteners would also go on to this list on as well. The second scene involves Nancy and Jonathan Byers' Bobby trapping Jonathan's home in order to lure and kill the monster. Nancy in A Nightmare on Elm Street does this for Freddy Krueger as well. Both the stories and the film have a great Bobby trapping montages as well. Number 6. We Can Do It Like It. There are quite a few links between Stephen King's It and the Duffer Brothers' Stranger Things, but I'll only highlight the biggest ones. First, the Outcast group itself is similar to the Losers Club from It. Okay, both groups are picked on by bullies, with the leader bully even brandishing a knife and causing one of the protagonists to fall or jump off a hill or cliff. Come on, these English dictionaries, so complicated, so many freaking synonyms. There's also the pipe in Stranger Things, which one of the cops asks if Will could squeeze through. This is possibly connected to the poor kid who got sucked into that tiny pipe in It. Number 5. Poltergeist and the Demogorgon. The incredible 1982 horror film Poltergeist, written by Steven Spielberg, see, Spill, you're just too awesome, man, is another one that has too much of an influence on Stranger Things to count each reference individually, but we can name a few to get it started, right? Outside of the possible name play with Chief Jim Hopper, played by David Harbour, and I know that you probably know by now, and Poltergeist's director, the Tobe Hopper. Both stories involve a child taken to another dimension and a family trying to get him or her back. Both stories have a mother who is somewhat consumed trying to connect to the other side, but both have a physical portal / opening to the other side, and technology is a means of communication. Heck, even Mike Wheeler's little sister is a reminder of sweet Carol Ann from Poltergeist, right? The entire premise is largely indebted to Poltergeist, and Stranger Things pays homage to it quite well. Number 4, getting close to close encounters of the third kind. Okay. Similar to Poltergeist, the main character Roy Neri, Richard Dreyfuss, that is, in Close Encounters of the Third Kind becomes absolutely obsessed with something. In this case, it's the Devil's Tower. The obsession is very close to the obsession that Joyce gets with the lights, letting it take over her home and drive people away from her. Roy builds a replica of Devil's Tower in his home, starting with mashed potatoes and then growing it to a massive scale model. There is a possibility that the communication with lights is connected to Close Encounters of the Third Kind, as well because of the communicatory lights on the alien vessel and at the end, but I guess I'm not sold on that. Number 3. Flying with E.T., the extraterrestrial. A few times in Stranger Things, the Duffer Brothers used the expectation set up by the films that influenced them to enhance the present-day viewing experience. Since the connections are so palpable between Stranger Things and Spielberg's E.T., seriously, what's up with, these Duffer Brothers being inspired by Spielberg? So are you a Duffer? I know that was lame, but come on. And since E.T. is so well known by movie fans, the brothers were able to flip a few references on their heads almost literally, okay? The best of the bunch has the group of kids riding their bikes towards an oncoming Hawkins van. Right away, we're brought back to the image of the bikes racing towards the police red block from E.T., the extraterrestrial. Of course, we expect to see Elle lift the boys over the van as E.T. did for Elliot and the gang. But instead, Elle lifts the van up and flips it over the kids' heads instead. Touché! Number 2. The Goonies and Chunk's Truffle Shuffle. The Goonies is another one of those children adventure movies that Stranger Things is connected to, so thoroughly that it would be too cumbersome to address everything. We have Lucas donning a banana that might remind some of Josh Brolin's Red Bendisi from the Goonies. Both misfit band of kids are not the most popular bunch of kids. Both groups of kids require the help from older siblings, and both stories have almost no adult intervention. Actually, the Monster Squad fits with all 3 of these connections as well. The scene that is the most interesting for the Goonies fans is when Dustin is asked to do that thing, an embarrassing arm-bending, cracking thing that is very reminiscent of the famous Truffle Shuffle that Chunk does so well in the Goonies. So, number 1, as pretty as E.T., the extraterrestrial. Oh my god, I know, E.T. references, I know, you probably are gonna get tired. No, you're not, because E.T. is a classic and everybody loves E.T. Most of them, I guess. There are so many E.T. connections in Stranger Things that it needed another entry all to itself to name more of them. While Elle and E.T. obviously have a lot in common, there are some interesting parallels in their stories as well. Both Elle and E.T. mimic speech from the people around them, learning simple combinations of words, usually as spoken by their, caretakers. Then there is the fantastic connection between the disguises that the two put on, you know, that thingy that ET puts on and the thingy that L puts on. Yeah, trying to make a fashion statement here. This is your voiceover artist Shorbacharya from the channel Extreme Jaws. I know that I've been blabbling all the time, but I just want one thing for you to do. Okay, just like ET, we'll fly away to the skies together. You just press that subscribe button, the like button, share button, and comment button, because I love you and we stretch everything to the extreme. Remember that. Love you.